They're moving so fast that it's impossible to keep up with what's really happening in China right now. What if I told you there's a secret plan underway to completely bypass American tech giants like Google, Facebook, Apple, and Microsoft? They've already started to implement this plan, and so far, it's working extremely well. But first, let me explain how this is even possible. You see, China has been building their own versions of all the popular Western apps and software for years now. WeChat, for example, is the Chinese version of WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger. And it's not just a copycat app. It has over 1 billion monthly active users, which is more than Facebook, WhatsApp, and Messenger combined. Then there's TikTok, which is the Chinese version of YouTube. And it's not just a cheap imitation. It has over 120 million daily active users in China, which is more than double of YouTube's daily active users worldwide. And outside of social media, they've also made copies of Google, Microsoft Office, and even Apple's iOS operating system. So why haven't we heard of any of these apps? Well, because China's Great Firewall prevents Western companies from operating in China unless they agree to hand over their source code and data. This means that if you want to use Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, or YouTube in China, you have to use the Chinese versions instead. But here's the thing, while China has built some impressive copycat apps, none of them are truly innovative. They're simply imitations of the original products. That's why nobody outside of China has ever heard of them. But this is where things get interesting. You see, China's government wants to take their copycat apps to the next level. They want to create entirely new products that will make people around the world forget about the Western alternatives. This is why recently China's biggest tech companies have come together to launch a brand new initiative called the Open Source Software Development Platform. The goal of this platform is to create free and open source software that can be used all around the world. Now, on the surface, this sounds like a great idea. After all, who doesn't love free software? But the truth is that China has a secret motive for investing in this project. You see, by investing in open source software, China can control the development of new technologies without having to rely on Western companies. For example, let's say there's a new technology that could be used to improve artificial intelligence. If this technology is open source, China can invest in it and potentially surpass the US in AI development. Or let's say there's a new energy-efficient technology that could help fight climate change. Again, if this technology is open source, China can invest in it and potentially become the leader in this field. And this is exactly what they're doing.
The thing to appreciate about China is just that there's a lot of really smart, really hardworking people there, and they're going to do a lot of great things. The thing that will feel pretty strange is that the Chinese economy is going to be probably at least twice as big as the US economy. Maybe 3 times, but at least twice.
Just last year, China invested over $30 billion into open source projects, and so far, it's working extremely well. According to a recent report, China now has the most open source developers in the world, with over 800,000 developers contributing to open source projects. That's more than double the number of developers in the United States. So, what does this mean for the future? Well, as China continues to invest in open source software, they'll eventually start to control the development of new technologies. And when that happens, people around the world will start to forget about Western alternatives. They'll start using Chinese software instead, and this will give Chinese companies the opportunity to become the global leaders in technology. Now, I know this might sound like a conspiracy theory, but the truth is that it's already happening. Just take a look at TikTok, for example. As I mentioned earlier, TikTok has over 120 million daily active users in China. But outside of China, it's also gaining popularity. In the United States, for example, TikTok has over 100 million monthly active users, which is more than the entire population of France. And according to a recent survey, TikTok is the most downloaded app in the world. In other words, TikTok is becoming a global phenomenon. And this is just one example. There are many other Chinese apps that are following the same path. The bottom line is that China is investing heavily in open source software. They want to become the global leaders in technology, and so far, it's working extremely well. But that's not all. I still have one more update for you. You see, China's plan doesn't stop at simply replacing Western apps. They're also working on something much bigger. They're working on creating their own internet, and it won't be based on the current internet protocols like TCP/IP. Instead, it will be based on a new protocol called the Research Internet of 100 billion things. This will allow China to completely disconnect from the Western Internet and create their own information ecosystem. So what does this mean for the future? Well, as China builds their own internet, they'll have complete control over the information their citizens see. This will make it even easier for the Chinese government to censor the internet and control the flow of information. And as the rest of the world becomes increasingly dependent on Chinese technology, the balance of global power may shift permanently. This isn't just a tech race, it's a battle for influence, control, and the future of the digital world. The question is, are we ready